Hi everyone, I'm Anne Riddell and welcome to Arts in the City. First up, honoring the past while shaping the future. A new exhibit at the American Museum of Natural History showcases new works by Indigenous artists using contemporary art to carry on storied traditions. Our Andrew Falzone has more.
Nestled in the corner of an exhibit that boasts some of the museum's longest-held artifacts is what might be the American Museum of Natural History's most frequently updated gallery. The Contemporary Art Gallery provides a continuously current perspective on Northwest Coast art. Its most recent iteration, entitled Shaping the Future Through Tradition, is no exception.
We're in our Northwest Coast Hall, which has fabulous belongings from many nations, but mostly historic pieces. So what's really exciting for us is to bring in young artists working in ways that are both traditional, but in this case, in these media pieces, ways that are so new and fresh.
The Great Canoe is one of the oldest and largest pieces in Natural History's collection. It hovers overhead, gently casting its gaze down on this new exhibit, merging tradition with contemporary art.
Not everybody's going to be a carver. And so some of us are great at working with the iPads. You can still do your form line in that.
Form line, like the design seen here on the underside of the Great Canoe, is a basic set of shapes that make up the majority of Pacific Northwest Coast art and give it its distinct visual identity. And as a documentary filmmaker, Michael Borkwin is familiar with the idea of reimagining traditional storytelling through modern techniques.
So it's just growing with the times and using what's available. If there's a different medium, we're going to exploit that and use it in our own way to create new forms of art, but still, again, kind of leaning on those traditions that we all grew up with.
Borkwin is no stranger to exhibiting in the Northwest Coast halls. In 2022, he produced a mini documentary for the hall's redesign that greets visitors as they enter from 77th Street. Now at the far end of the hall is a new multimedia-focused art exhibit for which Borkwin was guest curator.
For me, I just wanted to celebrate this variety of artists, right? All multi-talented folks. Just celebrating a variety of artists from the West Coast, like musicians, tattoo artists, filmmakers.
Tattoo artist Donica Saunders' work is on display via a video in the gallery, demonstrating how a tattoo design can begin on an iPad and then make its way to human skin for a permanent presentation.
I compare it to carving. So when you're carving, you rough it out. So I would say that when I did these light dots, that's my roughing out. And right here, this is refined and defined. And so there's kind of building blocks, sanding, painting, and all of that.
Also on display is a musical work from Christy Lane Sinclair, whose creation touches on a deeply personal and traumatic experience.
Break is about it's about being a survivor of domestic abuse, where in the video I'm wearing my hand braces, so because my hands got broken.
Describing her own sound as grinding guitars and soaring strings, accentuating a roller coaster ride of emotions, Sinclair says being able to again make music has made her PTSD manageable.
I had to relearn how to play guitar again and all that stuff, and that was 6 years ago, and now I'm back. And it's awesome.
Another work on display that's deeply personal is a documentary by filmmaker Kaya George.
So the piece that I created is called Our Grandmother, the Inlet, and it is a 9-minute short film hybrid documentary about my people's connection to the water. And it references my people of Tsleil-Waututh, our creation story, which is the Burrard Inlet, the Tsleil-Waututh Inlet, and Tsleil-Waututh translates to people of the inlet, so we're very deeply connected to the water.
George says she hopes to continue making hybrid-style documentaries and to inspire other young artists of the Pacific Northwest Coast to connect with their culture and pursue their own art.
When people come to see my film, they could see that we're very much alive, we're still here, and we have so much to say. I hope that the young Indigenous people that come to see my film can be seen and see that they're not alone and that they have a voice too.
I'm Andrew Falzone for Arts in the City on CUNY TV.
For more than 20 years, Smoke Jazz Club has kept the music going, despite a global pandemic and a lengthy closure. We sat down with one of the co-owners to chat about surviving and thriving as a neighborhood favorite on the Upper West Side. A tiny joint that's home to some big jazz. Paul Stash has owned Smoke Jazz Club for more than 20 years, running the business with his co-owner wife, Molly.
Yeah, crazy. We, at the 25th anniversary, we kind of looked up and was like, wow, that flew by.
Perched at 106th Street and Broadway, Smoke seats just about 80 people in its listening room.
You know, I book music that's great, and music that I enjoy, and music that is played at a really high level. From a audience point of view and from a musician's point of view, it really is an opportunity to connect with their audiences like no other venues. Yeah, I remember when Branford Marsalis played here, they enjoyed the feedback they don't get in a big venue, right? It's different. You're close to the audience, you feel the energy.
Paul's love of jazz dates back to his father and childhood in the former West Berlin, and it was music that ultimately made him feel at home in New York City, specifically when he first walked into what was Augie's Jazz Bar, the same space that is now Smoke.
And incredible music was playing. It's like I couldn't believe the musicians that were just sort of casually playing in the corner while everybody was hanging out and talking and smoking, and I was like, wow, this is an incredible place. I started working for that place a couple of years later, initially as a dishwasher and then later on as a server and bartender. And when they closed in '98 and the space was vacant, I thought, you know, this cannot be the end of jazz on 106 and Broadway.
It's that old devil moon in your eyes.
And so Smoke was born, but the journey has had some low notes, particularly during the pandemic. Rather than shut down permanently, Paul and his wife decided to renovate and expand in the neighborhood they call home, always believing in the music and the audiences.
It's a community. The support was so overwhelming and such a big driver for us to stay here and do the renovation here and reopen. I mean, people came by every day. They knocked on the, you know, we had it boarded up, obviously. They knocked on the door, checked in with us. They emailed us, they called us. They, in the early times of the pandemic, they made donations to our staff. Right. This whole room is the new space, that's right.
Smoke now has an adjacent bar area and a full menu. There are also live-streamed concerts and a record label, Smoke Sessions Records. But as Paul describes it, owning a small business is a contact sport.
And it can be stressful and exhausting at times, but when the lights go down and I announce the band and the band starts playing at 7 o'clock, it's like, oh, okay, it's all worth it. The amazing thing about jazz is it's probably one of the most unique experiences out there. It's improvised music, so what happens on that stage that particular night will never happen again.
Now a trip into our hometown's past. The Queens Museum is home to the panorama of the city of New York. It's the largest model of New York City, commissioned for the 1964 World's Fair. Our Neil Rosen takes us on a tour.
Inside the Queens Museum, located in Flushing Meadows Corona Park, sits something truly massive. A giant 3D map of New York City that spans more than 9,000 square feet. It's called the Panorama, and it captures every building, bridge, roadway, park, airport, and more across all 5 boroughs in miniature. It was originally built for the 1964 World's Fair, commissioned under the direction of city planner Robert Moses. His goal was to give visitors a bird's-eye view of New York, the city he'd spent decades reshaping, and he didn't think small. More than 100 model makers spent 3 years hand-building each of New York's 895,000 structures from the early 60s, at a scale of 1 inch to 100 feet. When the World's Fair ended, the Panorama stayed right here in Flushing Meadows, eventually becoming the centerpiece of the Queens Museum. Over the years, it's been updated to reflect the city's constantly changing skyline, most notably in 1992, when more than 60,000 buildings were replaced to bring the model up to date. That was before the digital age, so imagine teams of artisans hand-cutting and repainting tiny replicas of entire neighborhoods one by one. Since then, the panorama has become more than just a model. It's a living time capsule. It still shows the Twin Towers standing tall in lower Manhattan, a poignant reminder of both what the city has lost and how it's endured. Lynn Malazewski is the Assistant Director of Archives and Collections at the Queens Museum. There are a few buildings here that are new that have been added, but why hasn't it been fully updated since 1992?
We haven't updated since 1992 for a few reasons. Due to the scale of the item, it took $2 million in 1992, so understanding today that the city has grown much more than the approximately 30,000 buildings that were in the update between the late 1980s and 1992, today would be tens of thousands more, right? And many more unique and one-of-a-kind buildings. So it hasn't been updated in a way for lack of funding, but also because we want to keep it as an artifact, as a real learning tool today that we can show school children that come through or people who come visit the fairgrounds, that New York City continues to evolve and was kind of kept in a very particular place in the 90s, right before the building boom and the dot-com era, et cetera.
When the fair was open in 1964 and 1965, visitors entered a mock-up helicopter ride that circled the map, while today they walk along that same route.
The helicopter ride for the original 1964 World's Fair was your sole mode of interaction with the model. You would enter into the helicopter car, you would go around the model for about 9 minutes listening to a monologue by Lowell Thomas, very famous broadcaster at the time, speaking all about the innovations of New York City.
Today, center of civilization, this electric metropolis has opened opportunity to all, and its reward has been greatness.
And then you would get spit out on the top and have a kind of observation deck moment, which was really meant to show the model from about 20,000 feet.
Speaking of viewing things from high up in the sky, there's even a miniature plane that you can watch that takes off and lands at LaGuardia Airport every few minutes, which still operates flawlessly today. What materials are the buildings made of that are on the panorama map?
The larger, more unique buildings are made out of predominantly wood, and some have, depending on when they came onto the model, because very interestingly, again, the model is history of model making 101 in a way. So we had an effort in the late 80s wherein over 100 architecture firms, by way of their own model making departments, donated buildings to the panorama in our scale, but in their own style. So we have many original buildings that were on the 64 model that are made out of wood blocks with these kind of copper or paper wrappings, but then we also have additional buildings that literally are made out of wood, hand carved, and have different types of fenestration or copper painting on them to show the windows, for example.
Like the city it represents, the panorama never stops fascinating people, as some visitors come here to find their block, their school, and their childhood home. It reminds us that New York is always growing, always changing, neighborhoods evolve, skylines shift, and history lives on in unexpected ways. Standing above this unique map, frozen in time, you could see the past, the present, and even maybe imagine the future all at once. For more information about the panorama, to find out their hours of operation, go to their website at queensmuseum.org. At the panorama of the City of New York, at Flushing Meadows Corona Park, for Arts in the City, I'm Neil Rosen.
Tony Award-winning actress Ali Stroker is the first wheelchair user to win Broadway's top honor. She spoke with Patrick Pacheco, host of CUNY TV's Theater, All the Moving Parts, about her journey as a performer, author, advocate, and new mom.
And the Tony Award goes to Ali Stroker!
Welcome, Ali, to Theater, All the Moving Parts. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored.
There are so many moving parts to your career. Actor, author, advocate, educator, and self-described golden retriever. Do you want to explain that last description?
Yes, I've always been a really outgoing extrovert, and I love people. I get my energy from being with other people. So I just always say I'm kind of the golden retriever of the family. And we don't have a dog, we have a cat, but yeah, I just love people.
Audiences get to get a glimpse into that golden retriever in your new cabaret act, which takes the audience from 7-year-old Allison McKenzie singing Maybe from Annie in New Jersey to Tony Award-winning success in the revival of Oklahoma to Marriage and Motherhood. What made you want to put it all down in a cabaret act?
I have always felt like it was important to have my own show. Being an actor with a disability has put me in a position to not always be able to get cast. And so having my own show makes me feel like I can perform anytime I want, and I am in the driver's seat.
Far from Skid Row, I dream we'll go somewhere that's green.
And what was the main theme that you wanted people to take away from at the end of that show?
I think that I want people to leave the show feeling like they have enjoyed themselves and they're inspired, but also that they are able to take on their own challenges in their own life. And I live by this motto of turning your limitations into opportunities. That's been really successful in my life. And growing up in a wheelchair, people see your limitations, right? They're like, you can't do this, she can't do that, she won't be able to achieve X, Y, and Z. And I got really lucky because I was raised by two people, my mom and my dad, who were not interested in that philosophy of looking at your limitations. Instead, we just looked at all the things that I could do. And a huge part of my childhood was musical theater and singing and acting and being on stage, because those were things that I could do.
There was a great eureka moment when you first sang a Baby from Annie, and there was a transformation. People stopped looking at you as a girl in a wheelchair and started looking at your talent. Describe that moment and what it meant to you.
That moment changed my life, because being young and in a wheelchair, you know, people, I call it like a million eyes. You feel people staring at you. You feel like, all right, I'm different and the world sees me differently and they want to get a look. And I didn't like that feeling, Patrick. It just made me feel like I didn't have any control. And being on stage, everyone was looking at me, but it was because I was the star or I was singing. And it felt like I was empowered in that moment, that I could hold an audience in the palm of my hand and entertain them and make them smile and maybe even change their mind about what having a disability looks like and what it can mean.
This award is for every kid who is watching tonight who has a disability, who has a limitation or a challenge, who has been waiting to see themselves represented in this arena. You are.
To hear more from our conversation, make sure to watch the full episode of Theater All the Moving Parts, airing Fridays at 8:30 p.m., also on YouTube.
You've probably noticed the holiday season is here. Donna Hanover shows us some of the best and brightest ways to celebrate.
Lights are twinkling, decorations are sparkling, holiday festivities are revving up all around us. The New York Transit Museum has a fantastic holiday train show at Grand Central Terminal. Lionel Metro North, Polar Express, and vintage subway cars go chugging past New York City landmarks. It's free and it's fun. Miniature trains also clatter past landmarks at the New York Botanical Garden in the Bronx. This year, there's a new model in the landscape, a replica of Central Park's renovated Delacorte Theater that opened this summer to continue hosting Shakespeare in the Park.
Outdoor markets are wonderful places to find gifts and decorations for the holiday season. Here at the Bank of America Winter Village at Bryant Park, there are more than 170 cool little shops to explore.
While you're shopping at Bryant Park, you might do a little ice skating as well. It's free, you can rent skates or bring your own and impress onlookers as they consider whether to lace up. Performances are a pleasure at holiday time. In Staten Island, the gorgeous renovated St. George Theater puts on a magical Christmas show from December 12th through December 14th. The Queens College Choral Society has in the past performed great works like Handel's Messiah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. This year, on Sunday, December 14th, they're presenting the best of Duke Ellington's Sacred Concerts. It's a collaboration with the Louis Armstrong House Museum, and they have tap dancer Marshall Davis Jr. as a guest artist. The Rockettes at Radio City Music Hall always dazzle with their amazing choreography. This year is special because it's the Rockettes' 100th anniversary. And for some families, it's a beloved tradition to see the New York City Ballet perform George Balanchine's The Nutcracker. For many people, kindness is important during the holidays, especially making sure every child gets a gift. A good place to start is the Winter Wishes program at New York Cares, which matches wish granters with specific requests from children. Another good option, Toys for Tots, affiliated with the U.S. Marine Corps. The Bronx Zoo is a great spot for families again this year with its evenings of holiday lights. Instead of live animals, you'll be amazed at the fabulous large animal lanterns showing creatures from Africa, Asia, Latin America, North America, forests, and ocean life. Evening magic can also be found at Brooklyn Botanic Gardens' Lightscape. You'll follow a lovely paved trail that draws oohs and ahs with luminous installations. Ticket times are staggered, so you have time to soak it in without feeling crowded. We all wait for holiday store windows to be revealed, especially the often exotic and brilliant Bergdorf tableaus and the reliably fun Macy's windows. Can they possibly surpass previous displays? After a one-year hiatus, Saks Fifth Avenue is bringing back the beloved light show projected onto the front of its flagship store and synchronized to music. The show has been different each year, running about 10 minutes and repeating through the evening. And the Rockefeller Center tree is right nearby with the big lighting ceremony set for December 3rd. You'll also want to see the origami tree at the American Museum of Natural History. The ornaments are animal shapes brilliantly folded by artists from around the world, and they're different each year. Usually you can find the museum's blue whale and T-Rex on the tree. For Hanukkah, giant menorahs are being lit for 8 nights starting Sunday, December 14th near the Plaza Hotel in Manhattan and at Grand Army Plaza in Brooklyn. A menorah lighting also takes place each night of Hanukkah at Hudson Yards. The whole complex dazzles throughout the holiday season with 2 million lights, some forming an indoor hot air balloon 32 feet high. Hudson Yards is also a great spot for the kids to meet Santa. For those who like to celebrate Kwanzaa, one option is the Afternoon of Unity on Sunday, December 20th at Hudson Hall up in Hudson, New York. There will be arts and crafts for children, dancing, drumming, and a candle lighting ceremony. The Mario Cuomo Bridge up in Westchester and Rockland counties gets in the holiday spirit. Hanukkah, Christmas, and Kwanzaa are celebrated with its gorgeous lighting. At Jones Beach State Park on Long Island, you can drive the family in your car 2.5 miles through a holiday experience called The Magic of Lights. You go through scenes created with LED technology and digital animations. And if your favorite decorations are the ones people put up at their own homes, you'll want to visit Brooklyn's Dyker Heights. It's famous for splendid holiday creations. Everything lights up the Friday after Thanksgiving. House after house has spectacular holiday scenes and lights. People in other neighborhoods like Howard Beach also take up the challenge, some with decorations like inflatable nativities, Santas, and snowmen. And now drone pictures give you the perspective Santa sees from his sleigh. Have a great holiday season. I'm Donna Hanover for Arts in the City.
That is our show for today. Thanks so much for joining us. A quick reminder that we are participating in Giving Tuesday this year. Your gift to CUNY TV helps us continue to bring you your favorite shows and award-winning programming. We truly appreciate your support. I'm Anne Riddell. We will see you next time on Arts in the City.